Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. On May 10th on Hulu, we have a new limited series slash mini series called Class of '09. The basic synopsis of this is that this is the Class of '09 when it comes to the FBI, and you're kind of catching up with these agents. You saw them kind of grow together as a team, but then you see them all these years later and how the job and positions that they currently in have shaped and changed them. If I remember correctly from what I was reading, basically the class kind of came back together there because one of their people died. And so it's, once again, it's interesting, I think, kind of action-y thriller kind of where you just... That's my understanding of it. It's been a while since I saw the trailer, so I could be missing certain elements of it, but like I think it's just more so like how the whole situation has changed them over these like past decade plus or whatever. So I think it just seemed really interesting from what I was reading a little bit about it, plus the trailer. Like I said, it's just been a while, so I'm not remembering all the details, but it seemed really interesting from what I saw, and I'm excited to check it out. On May 14th on AMC and AMC Plus, we had the 8th and final season of Fear of the Walking Dead, which I'm very excited about. I've avoided the trailer, so I don't even know what to even fully expect. Obviously, when this was renewed for an 8th season, it wasn't announced at that time. Maybe the cast and everyone already knew. We'll see when we watch, but I'm really interested to see where things kind of go. Obviously, where we left off with Morgan, obviously no spoilers, but a return of a certain character, which is kind of a surprise, which I kind of slightly got spoiled ahead of time, but it is what it is. I'm excited to see where that takes us, where everyone ends up, where everything kind of played out at the very end of season 7, and like the aftermath of that, kind of setting up our new bads were kind of introduced last season. We haven't fully gotten introduced to them, but dealing with them this season, but just the aftermath of where everyone's stories end up taking them. Who's gonna survive? Who's gonna die? Those are big questions with anything Walking Dead related. On May 19th on Netflix, we have this new series called Mute or Muted. Like certain places have it labeled with just Mute, other places, even on the Netflix trailer, it's called Muted. But essentially, this guy has going to jail because he killed his parents, or at least believed to be. I don't think he even went to... No, I think he got released on good behavior or whatever, and it seems like there are like cops or whatever still investigating him, trying to get to the heart of it. It seems like there's specifically one woman that's kind of like, I don't know if obsessed is the right word, because ever since his parents' death, he hasn't said anything during court. He didn't say anything in prison. Even post being released, he hasn't said anything. So I think everyone's trying to get to the truth of this. Once again, I don't know whether she actually is a cop or maybe she's just a journalist trying to investigate, but she's keeping cameras on him and watching him, and I guess maybe it's a thing of maybe they're trying to see if he's still a threat and trying to get the truth about this, and they kind of evolve a third person in this, and it just becomes this interesting psychological thriller about trying to discover like maybe potentially what really happened, and is he really the danger that we think he is or isn't. So seeing that kind of unravel is definitely going to be interesting. It seemed like a very interesting series, so I'm excited to check it out. Also on May 19th on Freevee, we have a new comedy series called Primo. Basically, it's about this kind of high schoolish, I think, kid who was living with his mom. I don't remember. They probably talked about it. I just don't remember now what happened to his dad, but his mom is single now, I think. I don't know whether the dad left or died. I can't remember, but he's living and being raised in a household with his mom and his 5 uncles, and it just seems like he's just trying to figure out kind of like his life and his love life, and so he's basically getting advice from his 5 different uncles, and just kind of like shenanigans type of thing ensues. But it seems kind of funny and cute, so I'm very excited to kind of fully see what the show is all about. On May 24th on Disney Plus, we have a new series called American Born Chinese. Essentially, we have this main protagonist who's just, I think he's a middle schooler maybe, but he's kind of got an ordinary life until like this new Taiwanese transfer student comes, and it's like, hey, you kind of got to give him the ropes, because this story is taking place in the US, and eventually he's just kind of annoyed by this person's presence, because like, oh, like I kind of get dragged down because he's the new kid, and it kind of reflects badly on me, until he finds out this new kid isn't just some regular kid, and the whole situation drags him into this like fantasy like martial arts story of for what I was reading, kind of with like a lot of god mythology kind of being thrown in there. It seems interesting. It seems why it feels like a story that's kind of right up my alley. I also recently learned that it's actually based on a graphic novel of the same name. So also Michelle Yeoh's in it. So that's enough of a reason to also check it out. But I mean, for what I saw from the trailer, it seemed really dope and interesting. So I'm excited to check it out. Do know it is, because it is on Disney Plus, it's in an interesting position because apparently all the episodes, all 8, are going to be dropped. I have to specify that because typically Disney Plus is like once a week type of drop, so I think that's kind of interesting. Also on May 24th on Hulu, we have this series called The Clearing. At the time of recording this, there's only a teaser out, but basically my understanding of it is it revolves around a cult. Apparently this is, from what I was reading, it's based on a real life cult, basically led by a woman. I guess maybe that's not something that happens that often. I'm not well versed enough in cults, but you know, it seems like this woman trying to escape this cult that she's kind of been indoctrinated into. Like, I think she was kind of raised in, and maybe she got away from it, but it's kind of drawing her back in. Like I said, it's only a teaser out, and I saw it a while back, so I could be missing some details. But you're looking something on the more, I guess, more psychological drama side of things. This might be right up your alley too, so I'm excited to check it out and see what it's all about. On May 25th on Netflix, we have a new series called Fubar. We have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing this CIA agent. He's a top-class CIA agent, and he wants to kind of call it quits to kind of, you know, make up time and spend more time with his family until he gets drawn back into a mission, because his mission turns out to be very special because an CIA agent they had lost contact with, and they were sending in their best to find out what happened. Turns out this missing CIA agent is his daughter. They had both been working for the agency and never realized that. And so it becomes this like father-daughter day at work type of series. It's this very like action comedy show. And so just from what we've seen, it seemed funny. It seemed really interesting. So I'm excited to check it out. And finally, on May 31st on the CW, we have the 4th and final season of Nancy Drew, which I'm very, very excited about. Definitely gonna have to recap season 3 because I don't remember everything. I had to look it up a little bit. I couldn't even remember Temperance's name. It's that type of situation. But I remember bits and pieces of where the finale left us. That like, I know Nancy, like Temperance showed Nancy kind of how one way of things were going to play out, and like, oh, you get to live your lives, but things had like a terrible ending in that regard, specifically when it came to like things between her and Ace. I think Ace specifically died, and Temperance is like, cool, you don't want this future, you better let me do what I gotta do. Nancy hesitated, which led to them going about stopping her a different way, which in itself had major consequences for the entire group. Like, obviously, George and Nick are in a very, very nasty, complicated situation. Obviously, I want to say Bess has kind of put herself in a very complicated, I mean, everyone's in a complicated situation. If I remember correctly, Nancy and Ace can't be together anymore, because if they do, if she tells them about the curse, if like he tells her he loves her, or she tells him how she feels, he will die. So she has to break off what was kind of building between them. So I don't know. I actually didn't look to see if there's a trailer out for this at the time of recording this. It usually probably be like 2 weeks into the, probably like 2 weeks before the show starts airing. It's probably when we'll probably get like a full trailer. I'll probably avoid it just because I'd rather go into this season knowing as little as possible. But I'm so excited to see where Nancy Drew takes us this season, how this all plays out, and how the story comes to an end. That brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that you think maybe me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.